All right, away we go on the Wednesday edition. Mr. Relevant, Alex Strouf, DiMaggio, Will Sommers, Hunter Vaughn with you on this Wednesday. As the Packers season is still over. That has not changed since Monday. We've got plenty to dive into about the Packers offseason, including what the hell's going on with Matt LaFleur and what looks to be a standoff between him and the Packers as they continue to negotiate a contract extension. Will it happen? Will LaFleur be the head coach in 2026? The answer is nobody knows anything. That's what we've landed on. We'll get into a whole lot of that. I've come up with a plan to fix the Packers. I can't wait for Joshy to poke holes in that. We will get to that at some point. I do want to take a look at the NFL at large at some point and just the coaching chaos and maybe how that could play into Matt LaFleur and his future in Green Bay. We'll play a little One Word Wednesday. We will take a look at what happened down the street at Fiserv Forum last night. And, of course, we will get to what we missed. The fun thing about this show is I often don't tell Josh what we're doing. I just want him to show up and do the show. So that's the first you've heard of my plan to fix the Packers.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
Why are you concerned?
You are really good at having your own ideas that once someone pokes the slightest hole, everything falls apart.
Yep.
So you're very good at, you build a world in your head. And then any pushback, oftentimes it's like one hole causes everything to deflate.
Okay, well, that's disrespectful, first off. But second off, so we do this thing at work, and I'm sure other people who have jobs have had to do this depending on the company they work for. But when you get hired at Good Karma, at GKB, who's, obviously the company, all of our ESPN brands fall under the umbrella of Good Karma brands, we do this thing called the Strength Finders test. What's your number one strength, out of curiosity?
I believe it is either intellection or it is...
of course.
He just wanted to say that.
It's intellection or... let me look. I can probably find it for you.
Will, you know yours off the top of your head?
I'd have to look.
Okay, Hunter's smart. He'll know his.
Yeah, mine's responsibility.
That makes sense. So mine is...
maybe analytical?
That would make sense also.
Yeah.
Mine is restorative. I'm a problem solver.
Okay.
I like fixing things when they are messed up or broken. So that's where this comes into play today. I'm trying to play to my number one strength of restorative today by trying to fix all the issues the Packers have.
Number one for me is actually input.
Those all kind of play together.
Input, competition, intellection.
Oh, he's a competitor. Didn't know that about Joshy. Will, you got yours now?
Advertise.
Yeah, my number one strength is appearance. I'm just kidding. It's woo.
Woo. Winning others over is what that stands for. It's one of mine as well.
So basically appearance.
Not one of mine, got to be honest.
That doesn't surprise me. For me and Will, I think that makes sense. For Joshy, that would kind of be the anti-Joshy, is winning others over. So do want to fix the Packers at some point. But I want to start with the standoff and what the hell's going on at 1265. Because we get the report, was it Sunday or Monday, Joshy? We got the initial report from Schefter that the Packers and LaFleur were working on an extension. And it's been crickets since then.
Well, Saturday morning had these 4 quarters won't dictate Matt LaFleur's extension.
And then the 4 quarters happened.
Yeah. And then Matt LaFleur found him in a place where it seems like those did have some sort of effect. And then Sunday, yes, we did get another report. But the language, and I think a lot of people weren't paying a close enough attention to it. It was a lot of trying to and working towards and looking for resolution type language where everyone else, I shouldn't say everyone else. I think a lot of people took it as a foregone conclusion at that point. And for us to end up where we are now sort of tells us that was not the case. And that Adam Schefter's language in that initial tweet was probably, we see reporters do this all the time. They say one thing, you read between the lines and you sort of get a different story. And I think that is the case. I think both sides recognized, remove having, like a salary level or a year level. Like Ed Policy wants Matt LaFleur to be the Packers coach in 2026. Matt LaFleur wants to be the Packers coach in 2026. But when you add in contract length and the amount of money and sort of the other things you talk about when you sign an extension, what's my... what say do I have over the roster? How much am I going to have to spend on assistant coaches? I think when that stuff all then gets mixed into the pool is why we've ended up where we are.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And we'll get to some stuff on the assistant coaches in a bit because your buddy Justice Mosqueda, who does a terrific job over at Acme Packing Company.
Should have just had him on the show, huh?
Probably. We still can. I mean, we got a lot of off-season left. He's been on the show before, though, when I've been off, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But he's terrific. He does such a great job covering the Packers, and he had a damning article about the Packers assistant coaches that I do want to dive into at some point when I talk about my plan. Now, when it comes to where we're at right now, and I'd be curious if we could throw some polls on YouTube at ESPN Milwaukee, at ESPN Madison. It's been a few days. We've all slept on it several times now. I want to ask the same question we asked on Monday, which is simply, do you want Matt LaFleur as the head coach in 26? It's a simple question. We'll throw the poll up on the YouTubers, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison in just a moment. You'll be able to vote on that throughout the show, and we'll take a look at some of your responses because I'm sensing at least a little bit of a tune change. Like, admittedly, I've changed my tune a little bit. I've always said, if you want to make a change, I'm not going to get mad about that. I think Sunday I was probably more advocating for it than I have since because I've been able to be a little bit more rational and less reactive. I think he's a good head coach, but there are a lot of things that need to change.
I think there's a lot of good head coaches that never fully reached their full potential of what you think may be it.
And you think he's another one of them?
If I were to categorize it, I think Matt LaFleur. If I were to be as plainly obvious or honest as I can, I think he needs, much like we talk about players, a change of scenery. I think he needs sort of the reality of, I'm not the only one whose voice matters. I'm going to take more input from other people. I'm going to really focus on getting better at these few things, be it game management, timeout management, whatever it is. And I think he has the ability because he's very obviously a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there is something that's lacking that I don't know if he'll be able to find in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I also think that's sort of what Ed Policy thinks. And what he's trying to figure out is, can we make a contract? Can we sort of show him that what you're doing is not enough? We like a lot of it. 80% of it is great. It's this other 20% that we think are holding us back from finishing games, having the mentality you need to win a division, all that stuff. It seems like that stuff is all stuff that needs to be worked on.
Yeah, I agree. Let's listen to Adam Schefter, who's on your show this morning. He joins you guys every Wednesday. Adam Schefter on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, weekday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. ESPN Milwaukee, 94.5 on the radio dial if you're in the Milwaukee area, or, of course, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, the ESPN Wisconsin app. Adam Schefter was awesome this morning on the LaFleur stuff, and I thought Jen, Gabe, and Chewy handled it really well just to try to get us any sense of an update, which I'm not even sure Shefty has. But I thought this from Shefty was interesting this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy in regard to Matt LaFleur and his future in Green Bay.
Separate from that, you need an answer as soon as you can get one. And ideally, they would have had one on Monday or Tuesday. And we're now until Wednesday, and there's no answer. So could it be today? It could. Could it be tomorrow? It could. Could it be Friday? It could. Like, we're on the clock. I don't know when it's going to come down, but it's going to come down. My guess is it'll be decided this week at some point in time. I don't know exactly when. But for the sake of everybody involved, everybody needs to know and move on with their lives in whatever way that is.
In whatever way that is, from Adam Schefter this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy with a fun club beat in the background of the first 10 seconds there. I don't really know what to make of this. I'm confused by what's taken so long. Because it's either you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball one way or another. And yes, he is under contract for 2026. He is. So if they don't come to an agreement, I guess he's coaching on his final year. But it's been made pretty clear through every indication we've had that one way or another, a decision was going to be made at the end of this season. Ed Policy was clear. He does not believe in lame duck years. He does not believe in a coach or a general manager playing out the final year of their contract. It's just something he does not have a belief in, which I'm fine with. So for a guy that it was said wasn't coaching for his job on Saturday to melt down, his team to melt down the way they did on Saturday, has to make you go, I think that's made it a little bit trickier this week. Now, the other thing that's made it a little bit trickier, how much is he going to make? Is he going to make more than Kevin O'Connell and Ben Johnson, who I think each make $14 million a year? Well, I'm sure he would, and his agent would make the make the case that, yes, I deserve more than those guys. I'm more proven than those guys. I've won more games than those guys. I've had more success than those guys long term. I deserve to make more money than it. So we'll see. Now, the other thing I believe is being pointed out right now on YouTube by Dr. Denver Dan is the last time there was an extension reached for Brian Gutekunst to Matt LaFleur, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't even know about it. Nobody said anything. But it's because it wasn't a situation like this. It wasn't a situation that was handled publicly like this.
It was a foregone conclusion.
Right. They had done so successfully that they earned the contract extensions. And I don't think we found out until Domofsky asked about it when training camp began. But that's not what this is. This is not the same situation. People are asking left and right. I don't think that was the case that year because those guys were so good. Why would they part ways or, move on from them? The reality of this situation is it could go either way. And that's what makes it so fascinating. The Packers, to Joshy's earlier point, could decide, hey, it'd be best for us to have a change of scenery. It'd be best for Matt LaFleur to have a change of scenery. Let's just mix it up because we haven't been able to get over the hump. Now, given what we know about the Green Bay Packers, that's probably not the direction they're going. They're probably going more so in the direction of, hey, he's been good for us. He's been reliable for us. There are some other changes needed, and we need to reset expectations, and we need to revisit your goals and what you are going to do as we lead into another season of this all-in era that the Packers are in since trading for Micah Parsons. But my guess is they will eventually reach an extension, and he will be back in Green Bay for at least 2026, but we will see, because the fact that it has taken now 4 days makes me wonder what's really going on. There's my brain dump on all of that, Joshy. Anything stick out, anything that I haven't said, anything on your mind in regards to Matt LaFleur and his future in Green Bay?
Yeah, no, I agree totally. I think there's, in the lack of information that we have right now, we sort of have to fill in the blanks. And I think Adam Schefter is doing a little bit of that. He's certainly having conversations with some of the coaches' agents and some of the people in the know at each of these teams that are sort of have availabilities. But it seems like everybody has sort of agreed here that not hearing anything tells us a lot. And it tells us that there is not a slam dunk solution to whatever ed policy has decided is the problem. I would imagine it's probably has something to do with duration and total dollars. It's not as simple as like, we don't want you here, because if that was the case, he'd just be out of here. I think it has a little bit to do with, and to be frank, I think Matt LaFleur probably believes he has the ability to ask for things that he probably previously couldn't have. I think when it comes to a bigger budget for your assistants,
Yep.
I think because as I said last week, like I think the Green Bay Packers need Matt LaFleur more than Matt LaFleur needs the Green Bay Packers, because he hits the market aside from where John Harbaugh goes. And let me tell you, I don't think I'm alone in thinking that Matt LaFleur is probably a better option for the current NFL than a John Harbaugh is. I think maybe time passed him by. So for many teams, he's the number one candidate. He becomes lock, stock, number one. That's who we're going to target. And that, to me, gives him a lot of leverage. Also, with the Packers saying, hey, you've not achieved the way we think you should have. So they both are sort of coming from this point of, we think we could probably do this out without you, but we would prefer not to. And we think you've earned an opportunity to do it again. But when it comes to what's your budget and how much more, how big of a raise are you getting, that's sort of where they probably have a disagreement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Looking at the poll now, do you want Matt LaFleur back as the head coach in 2026? 70% of respondents have said no.
Yeah, that's been consistent across shows for me. The should Matt LaFleur be fired I've seen was around 70% yes. William Tausch asked, has he taken the Packers as far as he can? I believe that was also around 70%. It seems to be there is sort of a large agreement still, even with me thinking they probably do get an extension done.
That seems to be where we're trending, but also the longer this takes.
I don't know. I thought I would have said this morning, like, this is over. Because just thinking of the timeline and how, like, the longer it goes, the less confident I get, though.
The less confident you get in what?
That he returns.
So that's the tricky part for me.
But then there becomes a point where it goes too long, where you have, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
If you don't get something done, you're going to be up a creek.
Well, LaFleur will be, and so will the Packers.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
They'll both be in a bad spot.
Because you look at, today is really where it seems like coaches are really starting to go visit facilities, right? John Harbaugh's in New Jersey today.
Our boy
visiting with
Ricky.
the Giants.
Our boy Ricky, the dog, on Twitter.
What did he say?
He basically said that it's a done deal with the Giants.
Harbaugh and the Giants. Yeah, they're not going to let him leave the
Yeah,
facility.
the intent is not to let him leave without a deal signed.
It seems like that could end up being the case in Nashville now. It just came out a few minutes ago for Mike McDaniel, the former Dolphins coach. He's in Tennessee today. And it seems like he has emerged as their number one option. But Tennessee obviously is a job LaFleur could see as beneficial.
And
for
that's
him.
where he Hafley interviewed yesterday.
Hafley interviewed in Tennessee yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Halfway plus 160 to be the Dolphins' next head coach.
Yeah, it makes sense with John Eric Sullivan
Yeah.
being there. The new general manager, who obviously was Goody's number 2 in Green Bay, just took that job. So that would make sense.
You do have to be careful with any of these where it's sort of prognostication. The sports books that don't do them. Like our friends at Potawatomi don't make these available because there's an ability to have, like, the Trades Commission don't love these. It's typically the offshore books that do it. And a lot of times,
Joshy knowing the trade commissions.
and a lot of times what ends up happening is companies put these out to make a headline. So you say over at blah, blah, blah.com, they have X, Y, and Z as the most likely. Like, we've seen it how many times with the Packers, where it's like the most likely option to land J.J. Watt, the Green Bay Packers, at plus 150. And then J.J. Watt never even gets an interview with.
After Joshy cites the Trades Commission, Brett chimes in. Keep up the good work, Josh, like Schefter says.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, Josh.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right. Ready, Joshy? Let's get into my plan. I'm going to fix the Packers this offseason. And it is operating under this context exclusively. Matt LaFleur is extended. Okay, so the first order of business is extend Matt LaFleur. Now, I am operating under the idea that this report from earlier in the week gets done sometime this week. Matt LaFleur is back as the Packers head coach for the foreseeable future, at least 2026. That is the first order of business that we will just operate under happens as I continue to fix the Packer. Moves number 2 and 3 should happen simultaneously. You need to fire Rich Bisaccia. You need to fire Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach, after a disappointing year for the Packers offensive line. So I view both of those as soon as you put pen to paper on your extension, those two are gone out of Green Bay. Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coordinator and assistant coach, and Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach.
Why not Steno?
I'm going to get to that in just a moment.
Okay.
Now, the next order of business, which should also happen while Matt LaFleur is signing his contract extension.
Wait, why are they different orders if they're both happening at the same?
Well, I think this is all decided with Ed policy when they come to the agreement, right? So, you can't extend or you can't fire guys until you have your deal in order. But I think you tell Ed policy this is my plan. Okay. Then after that, but during the negotiation, you say to Ed policy.
I'm trying not to get hung up on your difference. It's not a difference. I'm going to let you keep cooking.
Well, you need Ed policy and the organization to commit to opening their pocketbooks for
Yes.
experienced coaches. Okay, so that is a commitment you need.
Okay,
from the
I get where you're
organization.
going. You can't fire Steno without a commitment of investment.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it. Now, that's the tricky part with Steno. I'm not married to firing him. I, however, am not okay with him remaining as the offensive coordinator. I don't think you fire him because of this reason. I think if Jeff Hafley, and we do think he gets a job as the head coach of a team, he could say to Steno, come with me, you can call plays. And he will leave willingly. Now, if he remains in Green Bay, that's where the tough conversation happens. You say, Steno, look, I love you. I've enjoyed having you around. You're not an offensive coordinator. I need somebody more experienced. I need somebody that's experienced designing innovative offenses, and I need somebody who I can rely on to be my right-hand man during games when Matt LaFleur has shown he struggles to manage or adjust. He needs somebody else that has a better track record of doing that than Adam Stenavich. Adam Stenavich was a great offensive line coach. He has not been a great offensive coordinator and right-hand man for Matt LaFleur. Somebody else needs to be in that role. But I am not saying Adam Stenavich needs to be out of Green Bay. He just can't be the offensive coordinator anymore. Fair?
Yeah, I think that leads to a firing, though.
More than likely.
Yeah. Most people just don't happily accept the demotion.
That's true.
Mhm.
But that's why I bring up the Hafley aspect. Because I do think there is a realistic possibility Stenavich could get an offensive coordinator.
I guess
job
I have
elsewhere
no
as a
idea
play
'cause
caller.
I don't know. I don't know what sort of relationship those two guys have.
That's fair, but they've been in the same room together. It would be viewed as an upgrade for him no matter where he goes if he can call plays. And
Right,
as your
but-
coaches in the NFL, you're always trying to ascend, right? Not descend, which would be what he would have to do if he was
Yeah.
demoted back to.
I would be surprised if Adam Stenavich is calling plays in 2026 anywhere.
Wasn't there a rumor he was going to interview for the Michigan head coaching job? Do you remember that?
I don't.
I saw that somewhere. It might have been just clickbait, though. He loves sounds, chimes in. What if LaFleur hired his brother as the OC?
This was my theory, though.
You probably don't want to do that.
No, probably not.
Not a great look.
But Mike's in Green Bay have fared pretty well.
I like that joke.
Yeah. No,
That's
it's not a
good.
joke.
McCarthy, Holmgren, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I hear
Maybe
ya.
you just hired the wrong LaFleur.
Sherman didn't do that great, though.
Everyone
Yeah.
talking about how not good your assistants are be for you to do a search and then end up at your brother. Tough luck.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He is an up and comer. He is an up and comer,
It would be really
but it's not a
funny.
great look.
He's going to interview for some jobs, too, once the Rams are eliminated.
Like if he had his brother as the wide receivers coach, I don't think twice of it.
OC, though, right hand man.
Yeah, that's
They need to find more experienced guys. So maybe your next DC is your assistant coach as well.
the other
Versace being in that role was a joke.
Another nonsensical approach I found floating around on Twitter was that they need to lock Matt LaFleur in a McDonald's because he's too healthy to be the coach of the
Yeah,
Green Bay
fat
Packers. Yes.
coaches have succeeded, and McCarthy and Holmgren. Yeah, they both won Super Bowls. That's
I
true.
think being attractive is a negative correlate of almost exclusively, except for like a Sean McVay. He bucked the trends. Most other highly
I
successful
don't think
coaches
so.
are not lookers.
I mean, Mike Tomlin's a good-looking
He's a
dude.
decent looking guy.
Shanahan?
Would you
Shanahan's
also?
good-looking?
Yeah, but I'm talking Super Bowls, pal.
Well, he's been to two, didn't win one. though.
Yeah, think of the winners of
Pete
Super
Carroll?
Bowls.
This is so disrespectful to Andy Reid.
And Bill
Bill
Belichick.
Belichick.
Sirianni.
Sirianni's not that good-looking.
Exactly.
No.
It's
He's not fat,
disrespectful
though.
to him.
He's not fat, though.
So, yeah, I think either change his names to Mike or loads up on the Big Macs.
So what you're saying is they should fire Matt, hire Mike LaFleur
Yes.
as their head coach.
This
And
is
that-
my nonsensical approach.
No, it's an
I don't
approach.
need to hear from you.
It's an approach.
Sorry for trying to help you. I'll
You're
shut
not.
up.
You're not.
Ron chimes in. Hey, hiring your brother has played fine in Wisconsin sports. Cough. Someone who hosts a podcast on GKB airwaves. Cough, cough. He's of course referring to
it's like,
Thanasis
what?
Antetokounmpo and Thanalysis.
So I don't have a brother. I didn't hire him.
No. Last time I saw my brother, he said, "Hey, you've only had me on one of your shows once, and that was when I had a kid, and now I have 3 kids, and you haven't called me since." And I said, "Well, I can't trust you not to say the F word." And
Yeah.
he said, "Yep, that's a fair point."
Why'd you have your brother on?
So this is prior to my time at GKB, but I was doing a show, and I called him. It was in the middle of the pandemic, 2020. I was doing a show called The Alex Strouf Show, and he had his first kid, and he was like in the hospital, but it's when you couldn't allow anybody in, so I couldn't go into the hospital. So I called him on the air shortly after my first niece was born, and I said, "Talk to me about childbirth. How'd it go?" And crazy interview. It's good stuff, though.
To respond to his
You say so.
comment about the kids, you just got to say the first one's always the most important, just like winning championships. No one cares about the other ones as much as the first one.
Is that true?
I'd say so.
How many kids you got, Will? How many nieces, nephews?
How many kids do you have?
I also followed that up with nieces, nephews.
Yeah, nice.
Like,
Good recovery.
We're so far away from where we were.
I was also about to ask. So how are we going to fix the Packers?
That was
It got derailed. I had a good plan. I think the plan's been derailed.
Will's
because
fault.
It's Will's fault.
I'll shut up.
He told
Dang it,
Matt
Will.
He
LaFleur.
started talking about brothers.
So Matt LaFleur extension, Bisaccia, Butkus out. Open the pocketbook for experienced assistant coaches, and then figure out Steno, which is likely his exit as well. And like we've talked about many times, I think there's a very real possibility the Packers have to replace all 3 coordinators this offseason if LaFleur returns. Now, obviously, if LaFleur's out, you're replacing all 3 coordinators either way. But if LaFleur is back, I think there's a realistic possibility where you're looking for a new offensive coordinator, experienced offensive coordinator. I'm going to say a name, and I don't think you're going to like it. I'm actually going to say 2 names, and they're both internal right now. Nathaniel Hackett, Luke Getsy. We've already been down this road, and they've both failed when they've gone elsewhere. But at least they have experience. And I'm not saying I want either of those names. I'm just saying those would be better options already that I would be more excited for than Adam Stenavich returning as the OC. Now, I think you can do better than both of those names, but those are two names where I'd say, okay, if they replace Stenavich, that's better than Stenavich.
If they hired either one of those names, I might boycott the 2026 season.
I think you're going to boycott the 2026 season either way.
No. I'll be hypercritical of Matt LaFleur as I was all this year if he signs an extension. But bringing those two known failures, they failed. They sucked. They're bad.
Hackett was good here.
He was good in the wild card game.
He was good in the red zone.
In the gold zone.
You know what the Packers weren't good at this year?
They are actually very good at it until
the end of the season.
Yeah. They were one of the best, actually.
Yeah.
I have to watch the games, but I might actively root against the Packers.
Okay.
Lucky for you, the Blackhawks rebuild's supposed to be done by next season.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, Raheem Morris seems like the no-brainer if Hackett leaves, right?
If Hafley leaves. Yes, it does. I don't know how high in demand he is or if he's going to be getting head coach interviews still. It does seem like there's an obvious connection there that other people have made. I would be happy with that decision. I think that's a good move.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's sort of on the Mike McDaniel, probably really good coordinator, high-end coordinator, not a great head coach.
And then special teams, I just know nothing. But it's been a constant failure under LaFleur, so go
Give
get
me
somebody
that has had a top 10 ranked special teams in the past 3 years.
And I'm happy. And I'm happy. Right?
Yeah.
Bisaccia can't be back, and I fear he will be.
I don't. When Matt was asked about it,
He was super non-committal, but
Yes.
also I think he's going. And maybe what's taking so long is the fact that he's going into these meetings with Ed Policy, and he's going to, and rather than answer what Ed Policy wants to hear, he's going to go, "What do you want to see, Ed? If I'm going to be back, what do you want to see?" Which is maybe why it's taken 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, if you think you can bring back Rich Bisaccia, that's just baffling to me.
Are you able to keep him on as the, the associate head coach, but just relieve him of his special
No,
teams
because he was
coordinator?
bad at that stuff too.
Yep.
Because associate head coach's timeouts is game clock
Yeah, he
management.
needs to go
he's
bye-bye.
horrible at
He
that
needs to go
then.
bye.
Yeah.
Jeff brings up the name Chris Banjo for special teams coordinator, who's currently the special teams coordinator for the Jets. Could be a fun reunion. Remember Chris Banjo?
I do remember Chris Banjo. I don't know how good anything the Jets have done is.
You know, I think I'm friends with Chris Banjo on Facebook. Should I message him?
No.
Say, hey, you want to come back to Green Bay?
Probably not a good, wise use of our time in our hour-long What do you think, Maddie?
She just shrugged.
Strouf, please get off of Facebook. How else are you going to fix the Packers here?
Well, that was it for now.
Oh, we're done.
For now.
A DC name, by the way. I was going to bring this name up later on in one word, but Jim Leonard getting some
Yeah,
DC
so he's interviewing
looks.
with Dallas. Al Harris is another name that was popular even 2 years ago when he was hired. Al Harris, I think, is with the Bears right now, right?
Yeah, he's their defensive backs coach.
I heard Jason talking about the idea of Jim Leonard, and from the sounds of it, I don't think the people in Green Bay took too well to him saying
Denying
no.
the request a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, I believe he did interview, and then was most likely
he was offered the job.
Yeah, and then he refused it. So I think
that ship has sailed probably.
Yeah, I don't know how willing they would be to go down that road again.
Yeah. No, that's fair. You burn a bridge, isn't that? What's the saying? Don't burn bridges.
Yep, that's the one. Nailed it.
Wow. We're just on fire today, huh, Strouf?
People often say that.
Don't burn bridges.
Yep.
It's a bad use of your time.
Don't burn the bridges, your feet will get hot. That's what
Is that what they said?
No.
I think I might be the smart one on the show this year.
This year.
Yeah.
Don't burn bridges.
Yep.
Yeah. Al Harris is a name that intrigues me. Now, I guess, and I see that pointed out in the comment, Bears will never give the Packers permission to talk to Harris. I don't know about that.
They can't refuse
Yeah,
it.
I don't think they can block him.
It's not up to them.
Yeah.
You can only block coordinators, right?
You can only block lateral moves.
Got it.
Or I believe they also did add language of because people were working around it where they were giving people like additional sort of fake
titles, yeah.
To get around it. It has to be a promotion.
Great.
Yeah, so Ben Johnson could say no thank you, and then Al Harris could say, well, I'm going to take the interview.
If the Packers were to move on from LaFleur, is there a name out there right now that you go, hell yeah, sign me up? Because everybody's floating the Mike Tomlin thing or the John Harbaugh thing, and neither of those excite me more.
I'm good on them.
Especially more than LaFleur. Like Clint Kubiak could be fun. He's currently the OC in Seattle.
How old's Clint?
Probably about LaFleur's age.
Clint sounds like an old guy.
Clint with a K, though. It's Clint with a K. It's hip.
Would you be more interested in the college coaches? Like
Marcus Freeman? No.
I'd take
Kurt
Sig.
Signetti? Yeah.
You would take Sig?
Siggy's.
Outside of Tomlin, I think those two guys are more interesting than the rest of the field for the Packers.
Clint
at
Kubiak
least.
is 38 years old.
Oh, I thought he was older than that. Gary Kubiak's son, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know many Kubiaks.
I can't say I do.
It is his. Yes, they are related.
Right, just confirming.
I mean, if you hear a last name you recognize in football,
Usually relation.
yeah, especially in the coaching role.
So Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur are related.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Brothers.
Yeah. Now, I'm out on college coaches. Now, the Halfley thing worked, but he wasn't a head coach. So, anyway, we will see.
I don't want Marcus Freeman.
Dr. Denver Dance, Stefanski, just a lateral move from Matt LaFleur. Are you okay with retread head coaches?
Stefanski, I wouldn't hate. I wouldn't be thrilled.
That would be my favorite of the three retreads.
Yes.
Of Harbaugh, Tomlin, and Stefanski, ironically, all from the same division.
Yes.
I worry with Stefanski, though, and I know there's other stuff behind the Schefter things, but the idea of him ever thinking it's okay to take one of your best athletes and players off of the field in the red zone is just wild to me. And I worry for you guys that he would do the same thing of like, oh, we're in a great spot. Let's take Tucker Kraft off of the field when it's 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line.
Who are we referencing?
Stefanski. He did that with Schefter in the red zone in a Browns game.
Hold on a minute.
That might be a move.
Yeah, Shedeur and Tucker Kraft, not really a parallel there.
If he was taking Jordan Love
But for
off,
that Browns offense, look
you
how important he was, because that Browns offense was garbage.
It was so important he didn't start him until November.
They might
Yeah,
have been
and
better
I
out front of the
question
Wildcat.
Stefanski's
Quinshawn
decision making.
Judkins, Harold Fannin, all guys I'd want the ball.
Jerry Jeudy?
Go
Nah.
Go Wildcat.
Judy's kind of stinks.
He had about a year.
And Joku,
Time has passed him by.
I mean, look at him. He's a freak. Strongest guy alive.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the accident.
No, I wasn't.
That's you called him a freak. I was like, geez, Josh, it's hard.
No.
I was going through it. All right.
Harold Fannin's the truth.
Yes, he is. I agree with that. All right. That's enough Browns takes for today, though, I think. All right. Let's look around. I mentioned Tomlin. That was the big news earlier this week after we went off the air. He is out of Pittsburgh, which I don't know that was entirely unexpected, but in the way at which it happened, he stepped down.
Yeah.
Which, does that mean he has to be traded? Because he still has a year on his
They
deal.
retain his rights.
Okay, so he's going to be in the media.
Yes.
Unless somebody trades for him, but I find that unlikely.
Everybody keeps, and this is another digression, everyone keeps saying that he'll be great in the media. He just talks in like generalities and like coach speak.
Yeah, he's a lot like me.
I don't find him particularly interesting. Like his post game and his pressers are just unlistenable.
What? Like when he said he's going to cut off his eyelids so he won't blink?
Yeah, loved that.
You didn't like that?
Yeah, there was a good. They did a good feature on Monday night. Monday Night Football of all the Tomlinisms, and they were very funny. You know I love a good cliche, and those aren't even cliches.
No, these I've never heard these things.
These are creative coach phrases.
It's just you want that, and you want that with your analysis of football.
Yes,
No,
make me giggle.
Garbage.
Make me giggle.
He's not trying to be funny though. He's dead serious.
Which is why it makes me laugh.
No.
Josh, you're missing that he says it with a ton of energy. And I think there's some of the networks, they just want some new energy on that panel for their pregame show.
You mean we don't want to hear Bradshaw misread the teleprompter for every halftime report?
You don't want.
I was trying to not name names, but yes.
You don't want to hear Tomlin go on TV and say, "If you're scared by a dog."
No. Nope.
The standard is the standard.
That's the worst one.
Yes, it is.
The Dan Lebatard show made an entire bit out of useless things coaches said, and Tomlin was always the feature because he said a lot of stuff that meant nothing.
You know who does that a lot, and he's the best at it is Greg Gard, head coach of Wisconsin. He's so good at it.
Jalen Hurts too. Some of his post-game quotes are.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever listened to a Jalen Hurts press conference.
That one would probably bore you to death.
That makes sense. Okay, this has been good, guys. I've enjoyed this. 9 openings in the National Football League. And could be 10 if LaFleur isn't brought back, which is just an absurd number. I remember a couple months ago, we were talking about, this could be kind of a boring coaching cycle. Tennessee had an opening, New York had an opening, and there was a realistic thought at one point late in the season that might be it. There might be one more. There's been 7 more, including the 2 longest tenure guys in the NFL in Tomlin and Harbaugh. And, you look across the league, some of the openings are attractive, some of them not so much, but you've got Arizona, Miami, Atlanta, the Giants, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore. I mean, you've just got openings all over the place. And that, number one, makes me think Jeff Hafley will definitely get a job. But number 2, I don't really know what to expect in terms of what the rest of the league looks like. Will there be a lot of promotions? Will it be mostly retreads and change of scenery guys? And how does that affect LaFleur when you look at how many openings there are at this moment at 1:07 p.m. on Wednesday with 9 openings? Is there a thought for him that goes, well, maybe I should go restart the clock somewhere? I don't think he would do that, but that has to be at least a small thought in his brain where he goes, well, even if I sign an extension, I'm going to be on the hot seat in 26 in Green Bay. What if I went to Miami and restarted the clock? What if I went to Atlanta and restarted the clock? Because as Josh pointed out earlier, LaFleur will be the front runner amongst the entire pool if he is to exit Green Bay. And that's what makes me think, the longer this drags out, the more opportunity he has to think, well, if I wound up in Miami, or if I wound up in Tennessee, I get 5 years, I can rebuild it from scratch, I can prove my worth, I can get he will get paid if he goes elsewhere. He's going to get more on the open market than he will in Green Bay. I don't know. I don't think that's something he would do, but it's got to be at least a small thought in his mind as he looks with 9 openings that he could become one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid coach in the NFL and restart the clock. That's got to be at least a little appealing for a guy like LaFleur.
Looking for me to add something there?
Yeah.
That's
what you do here.
Is there a question posed? You just kind of made a statement.
Made several statements. I was waiting for your reaction to them.
I agree.
He doesn't know how this thing works, man.
I think he'd be interested in the Steelers job. Steelers and Ravens are 2 I could see him going for. I mean, the Steelers, they've had, 4 coaches since 1989? And none of them were fired, I don't think.
I don't think Matt LaFleur is going anywhere without a quarterback.
He has one there. His old friend.
Yeah, no. I saw the quote from somebody today. I think it was Rooney.
It was the owner.
Said, I think Aaron came here to play for Tomlin.
Yeah.
I think that's going to affect his future. Is Rodgers done? Think he's done?
I hope so, for his sake.
I think he's got 1 year left.
The eternal optimist thinks that Aaron Rodgers has 1 more year done.
It's the way he's talking, man.
I can't imagine, with all the success he's had, to be a middling talent quarterback on the teams that barely make the playoffs and then get smoked on their way out. Like, what are you doing, man? You've got so much money.
Oh, it's not a money thing.
You can live such a happy life.
I saw the tweet. I forgot who posted it. So apologies to whoever did because I'm about to steal it. Packers need a backup next year.
He's never going to do that.
No, I know. Just throwing it out there, though.
He's never coming back as long as Goody's
I'm
here.
just throwing it out there. Packers need a backup.
And what, other than an insanely dysfunctional franchise, would you want a backup quarterback that feels the need to talk as much as Aaron Rodgers does?
Oh, man, the beat reporters around here would love that.
What about him in 9 in Minnesota?
I think that's actually realistic.
I don't know, man. He was quite plain about what he thought of Minnesota choosing both Sam Darnold and 9 over him.
Yeah, Malik Willis won't care, though. I think that's where he goes. I think he goes to Minnesota.
Yeah, that'd be scary.
Agreed. Okay, let's get to one word Wednesday. We'll get to Giannis. We will get to what we missed and what we learned. All in the next 20 minutes here at the in the second. Well, it's quarters for 4. What's 3? Trimesters?
Periods.
Yeah,
Oh,
periods.
We're going to the
puck.
third.
Yeah, we're puck guys.
Oh, that's right. We're puck guys. We're going to the third period.
Where?
The Zamboni's out.
3 of the 4 guys on this show are puck guys.
Yeah.
You're an interloper.
I don't know what that means.
He's a wannabe.
Write down interloper. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
All right. One word Wednesday. Hunter's, I guess, the Zamboni in this context as we go to the third quarter. Period. One word Wednesday.
Okay. We're going to start in college basketball. The Wisconsin Badgers winning on the road at Minnesota last night with a John Blackwell buzzer beater, winning 78-75.
Onions. That's the word. Bill Rafferty. Great shot by him. Back-to-back road wins for Wisconsin, including a win this weekend over number 2 Michigan on the road. All of a sudden, they're back in the tournament picture. Things are turning around for old Greg Gard, as John Rothstein calls him, the silent assassin. Onions, my word.
I'm going to say elite for Elite 8. I hope this team can do something for once. Make it out of the first weekend. That'd be fun.
I got to get in the tournament first.
I'd
but
enjoy that.
it's been a good week for them, though.
This is these next what is it, month and a half ish here. This is guard time.
Oh, yeah.
You play teams in the Kohl Center. Everyone would expect you to lose them. You win them. You beat a couple more of the better teams in the Big Ten. Then you move on with your life. You probably steal a couple road games as well along the way. Like, this is just what he does. He's gotten damn good at it.
Dr. Denver Dan, by the way, just wants you to know he's not a puck guy. He's a seam head, and he's excited for pitchers and catchers. Well, your
T's
one
and
word.
C's.
I'm going to go hot. I mean, big win last week against UCLA. You get the big win over the undefeated Michigan. And then this. I think they were first 4 out in the first bracketology, but
Suck on that, Joe
Yeah.
Lenardi.
go on a run right now. They're in.
Suck on that, Joe Lenardi. The last 4 buys is where Lenardi has Wisconsin. This is prior to their win last night. But they are the last 4 buys. That puts them at, I will try to find this as Hunter gives us our next one word.
Well, I was going to say start. I think these last 2 games are going to be the start of
10
what we
seed.
look back on as a really good stretch and hopefully at least a remotely special season, which I think, like Josh said, an Elite 8 would make this a very special season from the way it
Sweet
started.
16 would be sick, too.
The Sweet
Yeah.
16's fine, man.
Also,
Yeah.
Bronson. This was the last buzzer beater since Bronson Koenig hit that corner 3 against Xavier.
Against
which was
Xavier.
remarkable. that
Wow.
they've gone that long without a buzzer beater.
It's a
Interesting.
long time. That is, yeah.
Staying in college basketball, the Fighting Doug Gottliebs up in Green Bay are 5-2 in Horizon League play and just 1 game back of Wright State for first place in the conference.
My word is job, singular. Singular, job.
I was going to say full time.
Yeah, can I do
Hyphenated.
a phrase here? The best ability is availability.
Now, congrats to them on a good recruiting offseason. But Doug's been able to piece it together here as of late. They're closing out close games in the end. I've watched a few Green Bay games this year. They actually, I mean, they look like a legitimate D1 basketball team this year, which they did not oftentimes last year. So good for them. Good turnaround.
I'm trying to think of the dollar amount it would require me to watch the Fighting Doug Gottliebs.
Yeah, you got to counter in like transportation.
Oof.
Well, I've watched it on my TV.
Even then, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm not driving all the way up to the Crest. That's a
Transit
great
watch it.
facility, but that's a haul.
Even watching on TV, I'm thinking that's a $200.
They're at Cleveland State tomorrow night on ESPN Plus. Give me my login.
My word was March. Don't want to play this team in March.
That's
I
what he
think they're
said
going to
last
get
year.
in.
I, in fact, would love to see them in March.
I
as
would
any
also love
college
to see them in
basketball
March.
team.
Do you think at any point he will say, I was dead wrong about being able to do both?
No.
Because the success is
But the success was beginning prior to him stepping down. But it's gotten better since he's done it.
Correct. They've now, what did they quadrupled their wins from last season?
They had 4 in total last year, I think.
So they're
and they're up to 10.
Woo!
Yeah.
10 and 8. 10 and 8 overall, 5 and 2 in conference play, as Hunter mentioned.
Our third one in college football, the Indiana Hoosiers are currently 8.5 point. I'm calling them road favorites. They're technically the home team, but it's being played in Miami against the Hurricanes.
Yeah, collusion is the word. Similarly to the Super Bowl, it's being played at the Niner Stadium. The fact that Miami gets to play a home game in the national championship game.
I don't think you know what that word means.
Collusion. Collusion.
So somebody in Indiana's circle is doing this.
No.
Mark Cuban.
He's implying that when they agreed to have it at Hard Rock Stadium a decade ago, that they planned for the Miami Hurricanes to face the Indiana Hoosiers in the national championship game. Before, mind you, before it was
either of those teams were good.
And before it was a 12-team playoff.
Yes.
Was Sig even in JMU at that point?
Was that before the 4-team playoff?
It was right when
it might have been like the first year.
I think it was the first year. I think it was the first year.
4-team.
Yeah, collusion.
Just next.
Okay.
We got everything we
India
needed.
Staying in college football.
How about idiot?
Just keep Carson Beck off Snapchat before the 8.5 comes to fruition.
You know those are largely fake at this point, right?
Well, they weren't.
There were some that
a lot
weren't.
of them were fake.
But then one of them happened, and then 1,000 of them happened.
The Cade Klubnik, what was he saying? He's geocaching. I hope that one was real.
Staying in college football, quarterback TJ Finley will now be playing for his 7th school. He'll have, once he plays for Incarnate Word this next year, he will have played for Auburn, Texas State, Western Kentucky, Tulane, and Georgia State, along with Incarnate Word.
You missed LSU at the very beginning as well. This dude's path is unbelievable, and it's kind of been a downward spiral since the get-go. I don't want to say retire because he doesn't need to stop playing football, but he needs to stop playing college football. So retire is going to be my word.
I don't remember what happened. I got a Ben Brust text that distracted me.
What do you have to say?
He was mad at me because on our content call when he was scrolling to copy all that text, I said in a private text message, hit Control-A for the love of God, and someone must have told him that.
You did say that.
Well, I saw the initial message was F you, and I thought, uh-oh, what did I do?
Ooh.
My word is LinkedIn. Go get a job, brother.
Good word. Good word.
That one's good. Finally, in the NFL, former Badger defensive coordinator, safety, defensive coordinator, and interim head coach Jim Leonhard seems to be the leading candidate for the defensive coordinator job in Dallas.
My word is Hunter. I bet you're excited about that.
Yeah, after I said he doesn't have a premier job literally at the beginning of the college football season. And then he's going to be my DC, and I got to root for the guy again.
I think he could do well.
I do too.
It's been a weird sort of ever since the Wisconsin thing happened. His path has been strange because it does feel like he could have probably had one of these jobs earlier. He chose not to.
Yeah, it's a weird path, but here's an opportunity for him in Dallas after being back in Denver.
My word is a sentence. I don't think he can fix the issues on defense there.
It's been interesting, not to make this a full
that was
Cowboy
12
segment.
words, by the way. That was 12 words.
But the Cowboys, after they interviewed him on Saturday, everyone else that they have interviewed have been people that he has either worked with or have a very direct connection to. So it's basically like they're interviewing in order to get more background on him. And some fans have done old interviews that he had when he was the DC here at Wisconsin, his philosophy on coaching and how it matches up with Schottenheimer's philosophy. So I'm kind of excited about that.
My word's shoes. There's some big shoes to fill in that defensive coordinator spot in Dallas.
Yeah, big shoes. You're right.
Yep, real big shoes.
Who was the previous one?
Flus juice.
Eberflus.
Eberflus. They literally had the worst defense They gave up the most points since like any team since like the 90s or something like that in a season. It was awful.
It's a shame.
All right, there you have it.
That's all I got.
That's One Word Wednesday on
Floos.
this Wednesday edition.
The floos. I forgot about the floos.
The floos is loose.
Floose juice.
Oh, man. Love it. All right, I just want to hear from Giannis. Bucks, horrible last night. Horrible. They were down 31 points to the Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards-less Timberwolves at home at Fiserv Forum. Fans boo the team as they come off the court at half. Giannis, after the game, addresses not only getting booed, but booing the fans back, which Giannis did at Fiserv last night. Here's the Greek Freak.
I thrive through adversity. I thrive when people don't believe in me. Doesn't matter if I'm on the road, if I'm at home, if I'm on my family dinner, if I'm at the practice facility against my teammate. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, I've never been a part of something like that before. So it's something new for me. I like it though. I love it.
Do you, though? Do you like it? Do you love it? I appreciate the idea of fighting through adversity, but this team is a dumpster fire, even with Giannis back in the fold. I don't know what I watched last night. I watched this game last night. It was a bad decision by me. Bad. But shout out to Giannis. He's the GOAT. I don't know, man. Something's got to change. It might be
the
head
fans
coach.
is.
It's a no-no.
Don't do that. I understand. I get.
Who's going to, yeah.
I understand it's Giannis and everything he probably takes personally, but I don't think anybody in that stadium was booing him.
No.
I
They're
don't
booing the performance, which I guess he has a hand in.
Right, but also like the lack of effort that was clear and obvious that both Doc and Giannis had different reasons for. I don't think anybody's ever questioned Giannis's effort if he's on a basketball court. I don't think that's happened since he was like 12 years old.
Correct.
So,
Also, if you thrive on adversity, maybe don't still get outscored in the second half by a team without their two best players. Might be a good way to avoid some of that too.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm over the Bucks season and it sucks. I hate it.
And it's only January 14th. A lot of season left. Got about a month until the trade deadline, which I imagine.
They're a game and a half out of the play-in.
Later in that press conference, when he's talking about fighting through adversity, he called himself a Maverick. Does that mean he's going to be traded to Dallas?
It's time now for what we missed and what we learned on Mr. Irrelevant. Any topics we've missed, any words we've learned, and any of the in-betweens as we wrap up the Wednesday edition of the show. Will's an idiot, but I think we already knew that. Just wanted to say we missed that before I started the intro for
Seemed
what we missed. and what we
unnecessary.
learned.
Can you name a specific incident?
Yeah, I can. You said he called himself a Maverick. Does that mean he's a Dallas Maverick?
I just thought that was funny.
Will, do you know what the word maverick means? I think that
Yes.
needs to be added to your list.
What was the word that was on my list?
Hold on, I wrote it down. I could tell you,
Interloper?
yeah, interloper.
I would assume phony.
It's someone that wants to be involved with something, but they don't belong, I think.
Oh, perfect.
Is it better?
Yeah. Usually when I say words, they connect to the thing I said previous.
As the 2026 Mr. Irrelevant second dumbest guy, I have to give a more in-depth definition. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Levi chimes in. Will Sommers is never an idiot, Stroufy. You should know that, man.
Right.
He's got your back.
Never's a bit strong.
Yeah.
Levi.
A little bit strong.
I can admit.
Occasional.
I got a note in my ear during the show from one Will Sommers. He said, I have a great what we learned.
Uh-oh.
And I said, okay, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Okay, so Bo Bichette obviously weighing his options in MLB free agency. He
Oh,
received.
shit.
Yeah. let me finish.
It's spring already?
He received an offer of free steak for life from Toronto restaurant Animal, and then PETA counter-offered him with a lifetime supplies of Viagra. PETA is ready to help the Stars shortstop prepare for a bit of a slump should he accept the beef bribe, offering to provide Bichette with a lifetime supply of Viagra since eating artery-clogging meat can lead to striking out in the bedroom. So instead of...
That can't be real.
This is real. This was the Toronto Sun. And there's a tweet from PETA.
Oh, my God.
So to combat the offer of free steak for life, PETA offered Viagra because eating the steak would clog his arteries.
Wow. Do we know Bo Bichette's marital status by chance?
I do not.
Okay.
That I probably should have looked that up.
You're
Maybe.
okay, Will. It's okay, Will.
Yeah.
You didn't know I was going to ask that. Okay. So,
This is just the most like out of left field counter.
Joshy, I guess, but hold on. He wouldn't need the Viagra unless he also accepts the offer.
That's what I'm saying.
So, PETA is not achieving their goal of him not eating the steaks. They are just achieving, hey, man, is this person at PETA a Blue Jays fan, maybe?
I
The
think
admin.
I think you're missing their point in it by just making a statement about what eating a lot of red meat can do to you.
Yeah, but it can bring you a lot of happiness. And isn't that what we all want in life?
It seems like the offer is preempting him accepting the offer from the restaurant.
But why would he need the Viagra if he's not eating the artery clogging
That's
meat?
what I'm saying.
That's why I'm confused by
Yeah.
this. Okay, we're on the same
It
page.
seems like they need a different offer to drag him away from
They're-
the meat.
You're right. Right.
They're just making a statement about eating red meat.
Why
no,
did-
I understand that, Hunter.
Why didn't they offer him
but
tofu?
Right. Offer him unlimited tofu steaks then.
It has similar protein qualities.
Because then, by them posting that and talking about what red meat can do to you and eating a lot of it, then people like Will or us will then talk about it.
And PETA.
Yeah. We've literally just done exactly what PETA wanted.
Well, that's
all
fine.
this is.
I have no problem talking about PETA. For the most part, they're doing good things. I don't have an issue with them. My issue is
Let's be careful.
I actually know nothing
Yeah, I
about
was to
PETA. I
say,
don't-
you just made a statement with no knowledge.
Yep. Your mouth wrote a check
which I-
that your ego can't
Which I don't
cash.
know if is different than half the time you speak.
Well, right. I was going to
but,
say, isn't that just the kind of a normal
Yeah.
expectation? Aren't they like saving animals and stuff, though?
sometimes.
So that's good. We like that.
Yeah.
It gets a little extreme, though, and
yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is this offer seems only like mutually exclusive with the fact that he would accept the offer from the steakhouse, which seems to defeat the purpose of PETA.
I'm gonna say something here.
Yeah, go ahead. You're more than welcome to.
I could give less than an F about any of this.
Will was really proud of this one.
No.
Just thought it was a good story.
We tried to intellectualize something that was nothing more than an advertisement.
Yep. And we just gave them a bunch of free advertising.
Okay.
Now Denver Dan's going to be a PETA guy.
I got a good comment earlier in the show. Might be the comment of the year from Dr. Denver Dan. He said, "The Ass Show and Mr. Irrelevant, ? Great titles, self-defecating as can be."
That is a reference to Brett Bielema when he was the head coach of the Badgers. He said he liked self-defecating humor.
Yeah.
instead
I
of
tried to
deprecating.
talk Strouf off of this name.
What name?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Did you?
Yes.
When?
Before the show started.
I remember a lot of people trying to talk us off of that name.
Well, I've always had a pretty golden rule, man. The show name only matters a little bit. Do you think if we had a different name, we would be wildly more popular?
No, but I think making it more challenging to find the show, not necessarily the best idea.
I wanted to eventually change it to just the Irrelevant Podcast because I thought that was a fun play on words. If it got popular, people.
There's
called it.
also opportunity for misspelling.
I think if it was the
Usually they keep the names pretty short and sweet, memorable.
what if it was the Josh DiMaggio show? I think we'd gain a lot more credibility.
It's not a bad idea, and a
You
month
get old seam heads looking up Joe DiMaggio stuff
Yeah.
and then hit that.
a month from now, you're going to get the Josh DiMaggio show for a week. I'm going to Florida. I'm going on vacation. That's going to be the Josh DiMaggio show. So if you want to rebrand it that week, that's fine.
It's going to be strictly Blackhawks talk.
Yeah, we'll have to talk my compensation. I haven't fully agreed to that.
Well, that's not up to me. All right, that does it for us today. We will be back with you Friday. Brad Nortman will join us ahead of divisional round weekend in the National Football League. I just want to ask this before we go. When we talk Friday, so 47 hours from right now, will there be a Matt LaFleur solution?
I have to imagine so.
I would also have to imagine so, but I'm not positive because it's moved so damn slow. All right, that will do it for us. We're back with you Friday beginning at 12:30 Central, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube, and of course available wherever you get your podcast. That is ESPN Madison. Whoa, try again. ESPN Wisconsin app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, and live on YouTube, 12:30 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. I crushed that, Josh. Yeah.
Half of the shows you peter out so poorly.
Talk to you Friday. Peace.